On a gray Monday morning, the city moved with its usual restless hurry. Cars hissing over damp asphalt and buses sighing at every stop. Neon signs flickered against the low clouds, their glow smudged by thin mist that clung to windows and lashes alike. The air smelled faintly of rain and burnt coffee drifting from the corner cafes. Office workers streamed along the sidewalks, briefcases bumping, heels clicking, phones glowing in their hands. Beneath the towering glass buildings, where dreams rose and fell like elevator lights, a young man walked toward the district of interviews and second chances, clutching a worn folder to his chest. The young man's name was Adrian, a 24-year-old whose tired eyes carried the quiet weight of someone who had been trying for far too long. His shirt, carefully ironed before sunrise, had already begun to crease from the humidity. The folder in his hand held a resume he had rewritten more times than he cared to admit, each draft a small prayer for a life that finally moved forward. As he walked, he rehearsed answers in his mind, his lips moving slightly, breath visible in the cool air. This interview wasn't just important, it was survival. Rent was late. His pantry held little more than instant noodles and hope. Today was supposed to change that. But halfway down the block, something pulled him out of his thoughts, a soft, trembling sound. A kind of quiet crying that didn't belong to the morning rush. Near a bus stand, curled into herself, sat a girl no older than 9. Her dress was dusty, her small hands pressed to her face, shoulders shaking with every breath. People passed her with quick glances, then turned away, pretending not to see, and Adrian's steps slowed. His heart did too. Adrian approached slowly, careful not to startle her. The city roared around them, engines growling, horns blaring, but her small, shaking form seemed painfully still against all that noise. As he knelt beside her, he noticed the scraped skin on her knee, the loose backpack strap hanging by a thread, and the way she tried to hide her tear-streaked face behind messy strands of hair. "Hey, are you hurt?" he asked gently, his voice barely above a whisper. She didn't answer, her breathing hitched, shoulders rising and falling too fast. Before he could try again, laughter erupted behind them, sharp, mocking, careless. Two teenage beaux stood a few feet away, phones raised, recording her like she was some kind of spectacle. "Look at her," one of them snickered, crying in public for attention. "Bet she's lost or pretending just to get money," the other chimed in. Adrian felt his stomach drop, his jaw tightened. The girl flinched at every word, shrinking further into herself, fingers curling around the frayed strap of her backpack. He stood up slowly, placing himself between her and the boys. "Enough," he said, calm but firm. The teens scoffed, "Relax, man, we're just having fun." But Adrian didn't move, didn't blink. His presence alone shifted the air, tension settling like a held breath. Behind him, the girl whispered through trembling lips, "Please don't let them come closer." And in that moment, the interview, the clock, the opportunity, everything slipped from his mind. A sudden hush fell over the sidewalk, subtle at first, like the air itself hesitated. The teenagers stopped smirking, their phones lowering an inch as a shadow stretched across the pavement. It was long, steady, and unmistakably purposeful. Footsteps approached, measured, confident, echoing with quiet authority. Adrian turned slightly. A man in a charcoal suit stood a few yards away, tall and composed, coat lifting gently in the morning breeze. His presence carried the weight of someone used to being obeyed, someone who didn't need to raise his voice to be heard. The early light caught the silver at his temples, the sharp lines of his expression, and the cold focus in his eyes. He had seen everything. His gaze moved past Adrian straight to the little girl. In an instant, the man's face changed, his breath caught, his eyes widened, not in anger, but in fear. "Leela," he said, voice cracking just enough to betray his composure. The girl's head snapped up. "Daddy." A rush of movement, pure instinct. The man dropped to his knees beside her, hands trembling as he checked her face, her arms, her scraped knee. Relief flooded his expression, followed quickly by something darker as he looked up at the bows. Adrian stepped back, realizing the truth all at once. This wasn't just any man. This was the CEO he had been rushing to meet. The CEO rose slowly, placing a protective hand on his daughter's shoulder. His expression calm, but burning with controlled fury, settled on the two teenagers. They shrank under his gaze, their bravado evaporating like mist in sunlight. "You filmed a terrified child," he said quietly. "My child." The boys froze. One lowered his phone, The other swallowed hard before turning and stumbling away. Shame chased them down the sidewalk. Silence followed, a deep, weighted silence. Then the CEO turned to Adrian. You stayed with her, he said softly. You protected her. His voice carried something raw, something grateful. She wandered away, while her aunt was parking. I've been searching. Everywhere. Leela wiped her eyes and stepped closer to Adrian, her tiny hand slipping into his. He helped me, she whispered. Adrian felt his heart twist. Anyone would have. The CEO shook his head. No, not anyone. He noticed the folder in Adrian's other hand, the worn edges. The neatly clipped resume. Were you on your way somewhere? Adrian hesitated. Your company's interview. Sir, I missed it. The CEO's expression softened. He placed a firm hand on Adrian's shoulder. Then we'll start it right here. Sometimes, the moments that pull us off our path are the very moments that lead us exactly where we're meant to be. Adrian had left home that morning chasing a chance, yet found something far greater waiting beside a frightened child on a crowded street. In a world that often rushes past pain, kindness can feel small, almost invisible. But on that morning, it changed everything. It revealed character, restored dignity, and rewrote a young man's future in the space of a single choice. And all it took was stopping to help someone who needed him. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share. It helps more people discover stories that remind us of the goodness still alive in this world. What would you have done in this situation? Tell us below. And don't forget to subscribe to Acts of Kindness for more uplifting stories that restore faith in humanity.